Welcome to a reading with the winners of the 2021 Hector Padilla Literary Contest. My name is Minerva Laveaga and I'm the faculty advisor for Chrysalis. I want to thank Carolyn Wolf Worley and the Spring Arts Festival for their support and the participation of the Papagayo Project, both at BB with Charlie Miller and at Rio Grande with Jorge Gomez, has been invaluable to make this happen. Thank you both for serving in the as judges. It was really a good time to be part of that process. Thank you to the Chrysalis editors who welcomed my idea to host this contest as if they didn't have already enough to do. I couldn't do anything without these great people that I get to work with. And finally, we are grateful for the support from Dean Primosic and Dean Evler, who agreed to let things run and to let me figure things out when I said I'll find a way. The Hector Padilla Literary Contest was born as a way to honor and remember our colleague and friend. I have been thinking of what I could possibly say as a starting point for this event. To focus on the loss would diminish the intention that brings us here. Instead, I think of the conversations with Hector where we talked about writing and books. He enjoyed the process of writing short stories, the inventing, the pull and let go of language. He was a esteemed colleague because of his calming, kind presence, and because he was a consistent voice of encouragement when we wanted to start new projects, continue old ones, or reinvent wheels. Well, you have to try, he would say. That is why we included a category for faculty, staff, and the community to join the contest. But above all, he was one of the most supporting people I have met when it came to students writing. He served as faculty advisor to Chrysalis and was instrumental in helping the project continue. His students' writing often found a home in Chrysalis thanks to his kind encouragement. This contest honors Hector's unconditional support for EPCC students. He saw the talents in our community and he was always there for students to push them to keep going, to keep creating, to keep reading and learning. It is our intention to continue this contest in years to come. We want students to know that we believe in them and in their work, like he did. You will hear readings by an emerging poet in our community, who is also a former EPCC student, and from the winners in the student and community category. Thank you for being here.
Sol Moreno was born and raised in El Paso. A 2020 quarantine graduate from Silva Health Magnet, she plans to become a forensic scientist or criminal investigator in the near future. Currently, Sol is majoring in chemistry to transfer to UTEP for forensic biology next fall. In her spare time, she enjoys reading, playing the ukulele, binging TV shows, and writing short stories similar to Keep Your Best Friends Closest. Sol Moreno, thank you.
Hello, everybody. I am Sol, and here's my story, Keep Your Best Friends Closest. We do everything together, from going to the same school, having side-by-side lockers, going to the same church. We even live on the same street and have even liked the same boy. We've fought with each other, we've cried over each other, but we always make up. We're best friends. We're going to graduate high school soon, and because we have last names that start with the same letter, we get to sit next to each other at the ceremony. We're both so excited to finally leave this place and start our lives together. At least, that's what my best friend says. She doesn't know what I've got planned. She won't even see it coming. No one ever does. That's how the organization works. Or at least that's how it should. The last few months of high school fly by, and soon enough, June is upon us. We practiced for the ceremony, my associate setting up everything for that day. And the day before the ceremony, my best friend came over for a sleepover. Bella, she whispered as I was dozing off. What? I murmured back. She rolled over to face me. I got accepted to Yale. I cracked open an eye, a small, tired grin finding itself onto my lips. That's awesome, Dell. I felt her head nodding rapidly against the pillow we were sharing. Have you gotten any acceptance letters? I'm sure you have, she asked me. You know I'm not going, Delia, I answered with a yawn. She sighed. I wish you would reconsider. Not long after that, her breathing slowed and she was asleep. I hummed, turning over, and fell asleep as well. The next day, Delia walked 2 houses down to get her things from her house and brought her parents along with her when she came back to mine. Our parents talked and prepared breakfast, and then we all ate together. After we were all done, our parents went to the den while Delia and I got ready for our graduation. Delia hummed songs under her breath as she did her makeup. I remained silent as I did mine. My dress is blue. Should I go with a light or a dark? She asked me, holding up different colors of eyeshadows and lipsticks. Light, I answered quickly, brushing on my own purple eyeshadow. About an hour later, we were ready to go. Delia looked beautiful, and so did I. Her baby blue dress clashed nicely with my deep purple one, our makeup corresponding. Ready to go, girls? Finally leaving high school. Oh, my baby, Delia's mom fussed. My own parents just gazed at me with smiles that we all understood. I looked over at Delia. Ready? She rolled her eyes. Am I ever? Belladonna Jones! Shouts and hoots filled the gym as I walked across the stage. Delia Jordan! The same energy filled the gym. As Delia walked across the stage, I was walking down and back to my seat. I saw my parents, gave them a wave and a laugh, and they returned it with proud smiles. An hour later, the ceremony was all over, and we were moving our tassels from right to left, tossing our caps into the air. Balloons rained on us, and that's when I did it. Everyone was distracted. No one was paying attention. Del, have a berry or two, I told her, extending a hand with a number of dark berries in my palm, wrapped in a paper towel. She smiled. Well, I see we're entering adult life as random as ever, she joked, taking some and popping them into her mouth. If she keeps eating that many at a time, this will be faster than anticipated. I'd like to think of it as my take on the New Year's grape tradition, but with these special berries instead of grapes, I explained. Hey, that's so cute. What kind of berries are these anyway? I thought they were blueberries, but she trailed off, her chewing beginning to appear more pronounced. Bella, I need water, she slurred. Her eyes were round and wide, and she was also squinting to see me when I was only a foot in front of her. She fell to her knees, the remaining berries spilling onto the floor as she clutched her head. Sighing, I crouched in front of Delia, picking up the berries, then producing a plastic bag. What you will need in the next 5 seconds is this, I said, handing her the bag. Delia squinted in confusion, trying to gulp her second mouthful of berries. What? Delia started to ask before snatching the paper bag, heaving into it. Taking the paper towel with the remaining berries, I wiped Delia's face clean of the excess juice and vomit. Standing, getting ready to leave, I took one last glance at Delia and started to walk away. Stupid girl, I murmured. Best friends don't exist. Speeding up my pace, heels clicking against the waxed floor, I broke out into a run. I found the nearest teacher and tugged on their robe. Please, it's Delia. Something's wrong, I cried in what I hoped to look like extreme panic and concern. It must have worked because everyone came to her aid. Teachers, her parents, and the classmates surrounding her. But I, her best friend, didn't. I slipped away unnoticed because that was my job. Overpopulation was out of control, and this was the only way to control it. Frankly, it's the best idea the government has had since checks and balances. But since what we do is widely disliked, we work under wraps. We have to, but for our services, we are greatly reimbursed. Despite the duration that we've been around for, there are still only a few of us. I'd average maybe 10 to 15 families per state, but once more people start to realize that this actually works, things will change. People will come to the consensus that this is the only way our nation will thrive. The reason this method was chosen was because it presented as quite easy and honestly, simply genius. Best friends are pretty easy to find. You just have to find the one person you click with, and luckily, the parents almost always follow suit. Thankfully, people are ignorant enough to not even notice that what we're really doing is finding your pressure points, your strengths, your likes and dislikes, what makes you tick, what makes you get up in the morning. We find out what breaks you. We're not your friends. We're not your enemies. We're your best friends. They say keep your friends close, your enemies closer. They never did say anything about your best friends, but we did. We say keep your friends close, your enemies closer, and your best friends closest, because we're going to be the literal death of you. Belladonna Jones and her parents are part of a secret government organization called WPC, which stands for World Population Control. They work to keep overpopulation under control, and their weapon of choice is the nightshade berry, also known as Atropa belladonna. It's 2087, and the organization has been functioning for the last 43 years. The Joneses have been in the organization since it was created in 2044. They are a part of the co-founding group that started the whole operation. As heir of the Jones name, Robin and his wife Anna decided to pay homage to the family history by naming their baby girl Belladonna after the lethal berry. The end.
Our next reader is also a winner in the student category. Gabriela Mendoza has lived in El Paso, Texas for many years and will soon graduate with her associate's degree. She is prolific in reading and writing and has a name in getting a master's degree in criminal justice and psychology. Gabriela, when you're ready, you can.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for choosing me to get second place for this. The title of my story is The End of Innocence, and it's a kind of a personal narrative take on having a panic attack. So I remember it as if it was yesterday. It seemed as if I was slowly drowning underwater, suffocating on the air I was provided. I was hurt and betrayed, and I didn't know how to confront them without getting a panic attack. I felt the burn of my hushed tears, not letting them escape because I didn't want to hurt Kennedy and Dominic, because I knew if they found out, they would do anything and everything to protect me, and I wasn't ready for that. Everything around me seemed to come to a standstill as figures started to blur together. I was trapped in a sea of people with no voice, like I had no control over my body. I felt as if I was the only one there, surrounded by a sea of darkness and their voices muffled as they were trying to reach me. It just kept growing darker and darker until all I knew was darkness and pain. It felt as if I was being torn every which way with no place to go and no place to hide from the pain and the hurt. I really didn't know what I could possibly do without exploding like a torrent of emotions. Chest heaving, eyes watering, I felt if I was like trapped in my own body with no way to escape. My body was shutting down on me. I felt the cold run up my spine as my teeth began to chatter and my body began to shiver. Mind quieting, thoughts silencing. My mind was beginning to become numb, and the voices were becoming clearer, and I could hear Dominic saying, "Come on, breathe with me, baby. You need to breathe. Please stop. You're hurting yourself. You're scaring me." And I heard a female voice accompanying him. "Please breathe with me. You have to breathe. Oh my God, please." I realized it was Kennedy. Together, I heard them say, "You have to come back to us. You're safe, and we're here, and we're not leaving. It's just us, and you're safe. Please, you're safe, secure, and loved. Come back to us. We love you. Please, you're scaring us. We could never hurt you." And I distantly felt hands I didn't know touch me, and a male voice screamed, "Don't touch her." Two pairs of arms that I had known for years suddenly were wrapped around me, holding on to me so tight that if they let go, I would disappear. I knew these arms because they belonged to the only people who ever brought me love, support, and comfort. These arms made me feel safe and secure. Then it was as if I was a newborn baby taking my first breath, and I could finally breathe and consumed all the air I could, gasping eagerly, choking violently, and my mind was coming back to me, and my mind was becoming mine once again. My vision was still dim and blurry, and I could hear a commotion around me, hushed whispers of concerned adults and verbal jabs of those I once called friends. The rushed voice of Miss Aloma quickly asked Dominic and Kennedy to take me out of the classroom and calm me down. I could feel the sensation of salted, burning tears against open wounds and the salty taste of tears running into my mouth. As I was picked up by those comforting arms and taken somewhere warm and dark, I thought maybe I was safe.
I was going to ask you for
Thank you, Gabriela. And thank you, Sol, and thank you, Denise. I am Charlie Miller, as Minerva and Jorge mentioned, one of the judges, and I represent Papagayo Project. And I have the distinct honor of introducing our colleagues as they read their works. And I believe we're going to start with Yasmin. Yasmin Ramirez is a 2020 recipient of the Woody and Gail Hunt Aspen Institute Fellowship Award, as well as the 2018 Dickinson House Fellow. Her fiction, nonfiction works have appeared in Cream City Review and Huizache, among others. She's an associate professor of English at El Paso Community College and a wonderful colleague and friend. Yasmin?
Thank you, Charlie. So I'm going to be reading a little flash fiction piece I was working on, and they all started kind of as exercises. I just saw either pictures and or songs that inspired me, and like I created a scene from them. So this one is called Sunday in Segundo, and I'm going to be reading on my screen this time around because my printer was acting up. So I apologize in advance if it looks like I'm reading, it's because I am, but I'm not going to be able to look up at you as I normally would. But I hope that you enjoy the piece, and I hope that you're familiar with the song that it's written about. So this is Sunday in Segundo. Sunny spring Sundays always brought the people out of their red brick apartments. The rows of doorways popped open and screen doors kept the flies out. Open windows let in the fresh breeze and sunlight. The neighborhood knew to take advantage of it because there were only a few days like this in El Paso spring before the winds came. El Freddy walked down 3rd Street towards Stanton. He just left La Bui Bakery where he ate a warm empanada. He passed on the cafecito, even though it always made the piña of the empanada taste sweeter, but it was too warm for café. As he walked, he passed some vatos who were riding around the barrio on their tricked out chrome blinding bikes. El Freddy nodded as he passed them, and he heard their laughter as one of them hit the curb and almost wiped out. El Freddy didn't laugh, he just smiled. In the alley, he heard the sounds of chavitos as they kicked a worn soccer ball, shirtless and barefoot, up and down toward the makeshift goalposts. He liked the sounds of his gente as he made his way to his compa, Beto's house. Cumbia spilled out of the windows and mingled with the vatos and the chavitos' laughter. La Señora Lupe was sweeping the sidewalk in front of her door, and she nodded at him as he passed. Her eyes were steely, and even though El Freddy hadn't done nothing wrong, his gaze moved toward his feet. Esa señora era bruja, he thought, and walked faster. El Freddy found Beto outside, like everyone else, sitting in his dark green Oldsmobile, wiping down the dashboard with Armor All. He wiped around a black sticker with white letters that said, Raza is love. Beto's ruca had stuck it there one evening after they'd smoked because she thought it was beautiful. He heard the easy notes of Malo Suavecito flowing out of the car. That's what today was, Suavecito. El Freddy leaned against the side of the car and shot the shit while Beto made sure the inside of his ride gleamed so bright it hurt the eyes of anyone walking by. They checked out the chavas as they walked by and laughed when the girls rolled their eyes at them. They were laughing so hard that El Freddy almost missed her. A mamacita he'd seen around a few times, but never talked to, was getting out of an old Buick across the street. He stared as she bent at the waist, arms against the window frame to talk to the driver. Her tight bell-bottom jeans hugged all her curves, and he couldn't stop staring at the jean-clad corazoncito, a heart, facing him. Hey, he said to Beto and jutted his chin in her direction. Beto turned to look, shook his fingers flapping freely, and said, Esa ruca man tiene un culo, then bit his lip. As he straightened up, she turned to look behind her and saw him and Beto staring. El Freddy froze, lips parted, but no sound came out. She smiled at him, flicked her dark feathered hair, and disappeared towards the corner tienda. The Buick roared off. Ándale, güey, Beto said toward the store. El Freddy looked at Beto and smoothed his eyes on his faded Levi's and nodded. Thank you.
Thank you, Yasmin. All right, next up is our colleague and good friend, Baltimore Perez. Baltimore is a proud graduate from the University of Texas at El Paso, Go Miners. Originally from the Rio Grande Valley, Baltimore has lived in El Paso, Texas for over 30 years and has worked for El Paso Community College in one capacity or another for most of that time. He is also, this is not his first publication in Chrysalis. He has published with us several times. Valdemar, take it away.
Thank you, Charlie. Before I start, I do want to pay homage to Hector Padilla, the reason for this contest. He and I worked together many years. I'm going to say 30 years. I don't know. I always saw him there. He was a mainstay at community college. And he was one of the teachers I looked up to. And there was a few of them that I would look up to, and he was one of them. And I always tried to be like him. He was like my role model. Then we became co-working friends, pretty good friends, and we had a few laughs. And most of the laughs, we usually had them at meetings and workshops because we always sat together. And so this contest, this reading that we're doing here is a lovely way to commemorate his life. And it's no coincidence that the characters in my story are named Hector and Leo after him. All right, so without further ado, here's my contribution. Two ladrones from El Paso have a bright idea. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Hector had contemplated this very thought for days now. He put on a movie that he had seen many times, and during the opening scene, a light bulb switched on in his head. Orale, he said to himself, that's it. The light that went off in his head brightened up the room. So he looked around. He was dying to tell this idea to someone, but there was no one until the door to his room opened and his brother Leo walked in. ¿Qué hubo, carnal? Leo said. You're watching that movie again? Chingao, ese. ¿Que no te cansas de esa pinche película? I came in here to play Fortnite, ese. Yesterday, I found this cool hiding place and I was crouching like this, ese. Y luego, cállate, güey. I am watching this movie for a reason. I got an idea. Siéntate, güey. Que la chingada. Otra vez con tus pinches ideas. What is it this time? Leo sat on the bed looking at the PS4, dying to turn it on. When is the last time we hit a house, ese? Pues it's been a year, pendejo. Culpa del pinche COVID. Simón, ese. Hector stood up, found the remote control, and paused the movie. He got serious. Culpa de la pinche pandemia, everybody's at home. Like us. Yeah, people used to go to work and school, and we could hit the houses during the day, pero ya no. They don't even go on vacation, Leo said sadly. Simón said, those were the houses we hit at night. We would dress up like ninjas y todo el pedo. It's how we got this PS4. Exactly. Those were the fun times. Pinche COVID. Leo took out his cell phone thoughtlessly and began to scroll. Pero watch, I said. Pay attention. Hector ripped the phone away from Leo's hand. He sat down, looked around suspiciously, and started to whisper. Pointing to the movie, he said, we could hit the restaurants. Estás pendejo, güey. Give me that phone. Shh. Vas a despertar a la jefita ese. Hector stood up and made sure the door was tightly shut. Aren't most of the restaurants closed this day? Leo said. No, a lot of them are open. The ones that didn't go out of business. And people are eating inside. Can you believe it? Pinche gente pendeja. Pero no hay mucha lana allí, güey. And isn't there a coin shortage? What do you mean, ese? Hector tossed the phone on the bed. Pues, are you planning on hitting the safe? No, not the safe. That'll take too long. We'll hit the cash register for sure. And get this, ese. Again, Hector pointed to the movie. We hit the customers, ese. We get their wallets and purses. Oh yeah, that'll give us beer money at least. More than that, ese. Reefer money too. Hector pretended to smoke a joint. Orale, now you're talking, ese. But wait a minute. Ahora que, wait. People don't carry cash anymore, ese. Unless you plan to take their debit cards, their credit cards. Pero eso ya es mucho pedo, güey. They'll catch us for sure. Y luego, caemos en el pinche bote otra vez, güey. Leo pointed to the PS4 and grabbed a nearby controller. Let's just play Minecraft, ese. Espérate, güey. Hector slipped the controller away. Don't you think I thought of that, ese? Thought of what? I know people don't carry cash anymore, but there is one place where they have to have cash, ese. Where's that? Chicos. Chicos, that's right, ese. Cash only. The signs are everywhere. Remember that fat guy with the cut-off sleeves? Simón, ¿cuál de todos? He waited an hour in line, then lost his place because he had to go to the ATM. Both Hector and Leo cracked up laughing. Pinche gente pendeja. Y ha pasado un chingo de veces. People don't read. But you see, Hector rubbed his thumb and index finger as if he were trying to start a fire, indicating the universal sign for money. There's plenty of cash lying around, coin shortage or not. You got a point, they say. Chingos de lana. We could make a killing, especially if we catch them with cash in hand, you know. You know, when they're filling the register again to make change. Simone said, I've been in line when they do that. I hate it when people don't know what to order. It's chicos chingao. People know their order before going in. Leo tapped his head vigorously with his index finger. They got the order memorized. Pinche gente pendeja. What's your order, ese? Don't you know? Leo was genuinely surprised. I have my order memorized, not yours. And it's changed over the years. I used to get a double, but now I get 2 singles. That's right, ese. Why did you change to 2 singles? That doesn't even make sense. 6 tacos to 6 tacos. Because, pendejo, I like to drink the sauce and dip the fries. Hector illustrated the clever technique with his hands, pretending to swirl a French fry inside a heavenly sauce, then eating the French fry as if it were dripping with melted cheese. Then he pretended to drink the juice from a small food tray, delicately using 2 hands and pretending to make sure not to spill any of the valuable juice. He completed his pantomime by nodding his head repeatedly, proud of his ingenious idea. Órale ese, that's clever. I have to try that. You have to dip the fries. Oh yeah, the leftover juice, the green salsa, and the melted cheese, all blended together as one. Mmm, that's better than Doritos and bean dip. You bet, ese. For a long time, I couldn't make up my mind whether to dip the fries or drink the sauce. Then it occurred to me, get 2 singles and I can do both. It's the best of both worlds. Tienes razón. I used to get a double and a hot dog. Hay gente que dice burger dog. ¿Tú crees? Pinche gente pendeja. Es un pinche hot dog y cállense el hocico. Now I just get a single and a hot dog. Leo tapped his tummy. My metabolism isn't what it used to be. Pero ¿sabes qué, güey? Me cae mal que ordenas el pinche hot dog ese. Why ese? They're good. Yeah, pero se tardan un chingo para hacerlo. Ahí estamos esperando como pendejos escuchando número tras número tras número. Number 5, number 6. Not true, ese. One time we got our order right away. Ni hubo chance de jugar Galaga, chingao. Yeah, I remember. Estábamos bien pedos. Biri Biri Bam Bam was on the jukebox. Estaba bailando, ese. Ya me caía cuando oí el número. Tú también, ya te desmayabas, güey. What did you say? That can't be my order. I ordered a hot dog. Both Hector and Leo started laughing. Leo reached for a controller again. When are we going to hit chicos? Right now, ese. So put down the controller y agarra tu fusca. Right now? Simón, ese. Ya van a ser las 12. Lunchtime. Chingao. The line is going to be out the door, especially con el pinche social distancing. That's okay, ese. That's more people to rob. You got a point. It's convenient that we'll be wearing masks already. Simón, y guacha. Hector lowered the arm sleeves on his shirt, which he wore unbuttoned. Manga larga, para que no se miren los tats. Es todo, ese. You got it all figured out. Leo did the same. Hector got 2 guns from under the mattress and threw one on the bed next to Leo. Aquí está tu fusca. Make sure it's loaded. He dumped a box of bullets on the bed, and the clatter of guns being loaded filled the room. All this talk about chicos is making me hungry, ese. Can we eat there first? I don't see why not, but you better not eat your tacos with your hands, ese. That's disgusting. Ay, nomás porque no me los como como tú. Hey, the way I eat them is the way you are supposed to eat them. Hector began to demonstrate with his hands. You hold the front of the taco with one finger, just real quick like, while you insert the fork through the back. And then, after you take a quick bite, el taco se queda bien parado. I get it. So you finger the front, backdoor the back, and then bite the tip. No seas cochino, way. But you're right. I like to add the green chile before every bite. Sabe chingón. I'll give it a try, but I'm not as talented as you. Are you ready? Hector aimed his gun at the television screen. Almost. You know, there's people who call the tacos from chicos flautas. Pinche gente pendeja. Si fueran flautas, they would come on a plate with red and green salsa, sour cream, and rice and beans. And they would make them with carne deshebrada. Esas son flautas. Remember that guy that worked for Chicos and moved to Austin? He opened his own Chicos Tacos, made the juice exactly the same, but called it Chucos Tacos. Lo mataron al güey. ¿De veras? Simón, I read it on Facebook. Then it must be true. Leo looked concerned. Are you sure this is a good idea? Simón said, we'll be fine. What about the security guards? Won't they try to stop us? The rent-a-cops? No mames, way. They don't even carry guns. Oh, that's right. Then we'll be okay. ¿Y las surveillance cameras? ¿Cuál surveillance cameras, way? It's Chicos. They don't even have debit card machines. Surveillance cameras. ¿Qué traes, way? Hector and Leo laughed it off and tucked their guns into their pants. They were ready to go. But then there was a voice from within the house.
¿Pa dónde van, traviesos?
Hector and Leo looked at each other for a moment, only slightly astonished, then answered simultaneously, Chicos!
I thought I heard you guys talking about chicos. Me traen una orden, un double con las papas.
Órale! Let's go, ese. La jefita would have to eat her tacos another day because the robbery did not go well for Hector and Leo, the two ladrones from El Paso. According to the surveillance cameras, the second they pulled out their guns, they were both apprehended by two undercover security guards who did have guns. Who knew? Let this be a lesson to everyone. Don't mess with Chicos Tacos. Okay, well, thank you.
That was awesome. Thank you. So I love the sound effects. Well, you know, it's like we planned it when we have both of our winners use sound effects, which I haven't seen in a reading. I don't think I have seen that in a reading. I've been to a lot of readings this year virtually, but thank you so much, both Valdemar and Jasmine, for sending your work, for sharing it with us today, and for helping us honor this awesome person we're all here to remember. That's so cool that you went to Chicos. Now you're making everybody hungry.
Hungry.
But only if you know how to eat them.
Okay, so to close, we're gonna hear again from Denise. So she's gonna read a couple more of her poems, and I'm going to remind you to pre-order her book in the link that was shared in the chat. And so here's Denise again.
Thank you so much. That was so amazing. I enjoyed everybody's reading. Oh man, Valderrama, you had me rolling. It was just so hilarious. Thank you for that. I don't know how I'm gonna follow that, but I'm gonna try my best. This one I'm gonna read next. It's called Afro Mexicano. I had written it during Black History Month, and it's about a history that not a lot of us know, but that it's very dear and close to me. So I hope you all enjoy it. I did a lot of research on it. So here we go. It's called Afro Mexicano. The system works to erase you. My history is tied to your history. The diaspora was birthed from colonization, the same way our countries were. You didn't land here for business nor pleasure, but by force that chained us to the fields where our hands touched and two cultures became one. Afro mestizos, mis ancestros son tus ancestros. My ancestors are your ancestors. My ancestors are your ancestors. Children of the sun, even before slave boats touched our shores, our destinies were entwined. Tariq ibn Ziyad had conquered the Iberian Peninsula, an Umayyad Moor who was a freedman, former North African slave. He invaded Hispania and created Al-Andalusia, the Umayyad dynasty that lasted till the 11th century. The Spanish language forever changed. Spain is forever changed. When you put on your blusa, we put on our blusas. Ojalá, la sha Allah. We both wait and hope. Hasta hata, hasta hata, hasta hata, until the world knows that our history is your history. September 16, 1829, slavery was abolished throughout all of Mexico by its first Black mestizo president, a man born of the sacred mitochondrial DNA and a mestizo father born of First Nation peoples, a man of the people who fought for Mexican independence, the man who brought independence to all Mexicans. My ancestors are your ancestors. My ancestors are your ancestors. Your food is my food, a staple for Sunday mornings, menudo, hominy tripe, pozole, hominy, and any protein that's right. A food best eaten listening to son joracho, Afro Mexican music that tells you what you need para bailar la bamba. They need una poca de gracia for you, for me, for you, for me. Bamba, 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 bamba. We hear it in La Chica Costa, Veracruz, in Oaxaca, in Guerrero, named after the man himself, the biggest concentration of an Afro Mexicano population. But when you travel further deep into your own country, you cease to exist because they keep deporting you, porque los negros no existen en Mexico. Here you are living and breathing, as old as our flag, and even older still from your native ancestors of the Americas. North, central, south, east, and west. Every person on earth was birthed from our first African mother in the cradle of humankind. You are everyone, and everyone came from you. Everyone who tries to erase you owes their life to your ancestors. My ancestors are your ancestors. My ancestors are your ancestors. Mis ancestros son tus ancestros. Mi sangre is your blood. My soul is your sun. My Mexico is your Mexico, is your Mexico, is your Mexico. Thank you, guys. And then, I don't know, do I have time for one more? Thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
I appreciate that.
One more.
Awesome. Just one last one. This one's called Since 1492, and I wrote this when I learned about the hysterectomies that were happening in Georgia to the women who came here for asylum. And I researched that as well, and I found out that it's been happening since 1492. So here we go. They cut off my tongue when I couldn't speak their language. Teotl may not hear me, mouth full of blood. May the cholos quickly find me, take me to my final rest. Grabbed me by the pussy, pulled out my matriz, hiding evidence of their transgression. Now they're free to rape me. Sentenced to la operación, 1 in 3 Taino women. They threatened to take my welfare because my body was not my own. 1907 public policy, sterilize the unwilling. Eugenics before the Nazis. Pro-life means killing. Save me from the suffering. My prison is my home until a man can claim me as his own. In this land of the free, where once I could be a leader, a voice for my people, they beat fear into our psyche, and now I'm seen as inferior. They can pluck me off the res, blind eyes from authority. I hope they don't find my body, spare my mother knowing. Outsiders to my community took without consent. They declared an accident must have fallen into the flames, swept under a rug, woven by my aunties. They take my children as I cross. Asylum is no crime. Raised to hate their mom, my child will not know all my sacrifice and love, the other side of hope. They didn't bring me God, they brought hell on our shores. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Denise. I was reading the chat, and yes, always such powerful history, Lace, with your words and with your and with your poetry. We're so happy. You see, like, this is my team. Isn't that amazing? Like, these are the editors of Chrysalis, and so I'm so proud to be working with them. Well, Denise is our last reader for today's event, and I think that went very well. I think that this is a very good start to hopefully a tradition that will continue, as Jorge mentioned. You know, there is room for us to cycle in and out and continue hosting this contest with different voices, different perspectives, different judges, but with the support of Chrysalis, Papagayo, and the Spring Arts Festival, which is just such an awesome thing to have behind us. And so, yes, Hector presented. Thank you, Rich. Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been lovely to spend this time and to share with you the memory of our dear friend. So I'm looking at the chat. Sorry, I get distracted. I'm like squirrel. Okay, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Jorge, Jasmine, Valdemar, Sol, Gabriela, Jaime, Sarah, for presenting and helping. Thank you, everybody. And have a lovely weekend, and I look forward to the next one.
Thank you, Minerva. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Minerva. Thank you.
Thank you.